Good morning, everyone. My name is Natasha Telger, and I'm part of the Illinois workNet team that works on the CEJA reporting system. And today we are doing a session 4, part B, and I have the link to this PowerPoint in the chat. And so what we're going to cover today, with part A, you covered chapters 9 through 12. And today we're really going to focus on the reporting system with the different types of reports that are available to help you with chapters 10 through 12. So we're going to take a look at the dashboard, cohort report, cost report, customer service report, demographic report, narrative report, success stories, plan versus actual, and then the full export. So in the PowerPoint, I have, just like a screenshot, just to kind of as a reminder of what is what. And so I'm not going to necessarily go through the PowerPoint, but it is available for you just as a reminder of what's in each report. So with that, let's go ahead and we're going to, well, I guess actually what I'm going to do is have my PowerPoint over here off to the side so I make sure that I cover them in the right order. So the first thing that we're going to take a look at in the CEJA reporting system, first of all, you'll go to your, you'll go into Illinois WorkNet, you'll log into your account, go to your dashboard or your CEJA reporting system link, and you'll default to this customer page. And one of the areas that we're going to take a look at first is the dashboard. So to get to that from this reporting page, just go to dashboards, hit the CEJA dashboard, and then you can select your program. I'm logged in as a test person that is with the Workforce Hubs. There's different filters that you can choose from up here to filter the data. But once you do your filter, you can look at each of these sections on your dashboard. And so this kind of gives you a high-level overview of where things are, where people are in the system, kind of takes you directly to filtered lists of customers. And so we have this in here. Usually, like some of the areas are like a yellowish color for like needs action, green's good, red is needs immediate action. And so we have next steps for each of these. For these red areas, they do have, the description here of what each of these line items means. So, if you're not able to distinguish colors very well, you can read what each of these items are for each of these lines. We also have info bubbles. So if you'd like more clarification on what this means, you can look at the info bubble, and it walks you through the outreach, intake. So we have applications, career assessments, the customer. This is like we have a customer needs assessment, the service needs assessment, the section on referrals, services. So you can see that, oh, I see, so I need to let some people in. We have the different services and wraparound service items. So you can see, if there's items that are related to the service needs assessment that still need addressed, then you'll see those on this list as well. Or, for example, if you have a wraparound service that has an estimated cost, you can go to those individuals and go update those with the actual costs. The career plan, so you can see if they have at least one service where it doesn't meet the deadlines. start and end deadlines that's in the system, or they don't have any training or career services. So, these are just general buckets that you can, if you're maybe like doing troubleshooting, or you want to see and just make sure that all your people are in the line items that say everything in the system is up to date, then this is the dashboard for you to take a look at that. You can get a summary of the credentials, their completion status, and then transition outcomes, and then follow up. So that is the dashboard. The next one on the list is the cohort report. So let me go back to my customer list. And up here, you'll see customer information, outreach, and then work plan and reports. So we want to go to the work plan and reports. It's going to default to your project work plan, but what we're going to take a look at today is we're going to focus on this other tab, reports. We have the cohort report. And so each of these has a description of the purpose of this report, and then kind of like, what you can see, what you can do, just like bullet points. So for the cohort report, you can search by program. So let's just search for Workforce Hub programs. And then let's say I wanted to search for, cohorts that are job specific and they offer the solar program. I can add date ranges if I wanted to. I can hit filter, and you can see that we have a cohort right here, and they have a capacity. Pretend these dates are up to date here, but you have the capacity here, and then how many people are actually enrolled. So, it looks like you could enroll somebody in this, assuming that the dates were, um, coming up in the near future. Whenever you select the link for the cohort name, you can see the name, you can see the description. So whenever you're entering in your cohort information, if there's something that is specific about this cohort training that you want to put in there, like maybe, the first 2 weeks are at location ABC, the second 2 weeks are in, EFG location, or they need to be able to do this, whatever you think is, information that would be helpful if you're, um, trying to, I guess, direct people, what information that they would need to know about, you know, specific about this cohort that would be interesting, that would help a navigator make a decision, when they're working with the customers and talking through the options that they have for cohorts. The cohort that is in the system that's linked to the training program will include the training program information here. So you'll be able to see, the location of the training program and the credentials that are attached with that specific training program that's attached to that cohort. So, you can, reset the filters. You can see, oh, maybe the person wants to go into ClimateWorks, and I want to look at the pre-apprenticeship, and you can see, the different options that are available there. So that is the cohort report. I can go back to my reports tab, and the next one is the cost report. I'm going to select this test person's location. And I'm just going to go ahead and filter for everything. You can filter by specific service if you'd like to, but this allows you, or even a customer's name. So if I just wanted Natasha, I could put my name up here and, see what the costs are that are directly related with Natasha that's entered into the system. So you'll be able to see your customer's name, the type of service, payment method, description, dollar amount, all the way across. So you can take a look at these and you can say, like this one, maybe like, oh, it shouldn't have been a split payment. I could hit uh, this edit button and it would take me to that service, and then I can update that information specifically for that customer. So the cost report can be pretty helpful. The next report is the customer services report. And let me go ahead and filter to that information. Again, I'm just going to take a look at this example that I have for this customer is Richland Council is the parent organization. They have a subcontract, uh, subgrantees here. So I'm going to take a look at the overall higher level. Again, you can use the different types of filters, but this one is nice because you can see the listing of services that are associated with the people in your, um, in the program. And you can take a look and see, what their status is. Are they not started, completed? How many customers have the service and how many customers don't. So, if you wanted to look at like these people have their bridge training and 21 of them have them not started, you can go into this list. You can see the different people and what they have. And as far as if the list is, so if you have a group of people that are starting at the same time, you can easily click on this link where it says edit step and um, go in and enter in the necessary information for each of those services without having to, click in to go to Teddy and Jaden and Pat. You can use this list to.
I'm going to share a little started with these icebreakers. The questions that I asked were intentional. The
It
first
looks like
one
you're
about
muted.
the color and how we're.
There we go. So yeah, so you can go ahead and edit each of these steps directly. Let me go back to an example. Let's say that you have, you know, a service that some of these other services that are the training services. So if they're like job specific trainings, then you have to enter in um, post-assessment scores, so you'll have to add in some additional information. But if you have some um, services that don't require like the extra information, but you know that you have multiple people that need to have it closed, maybe for example, this basic, short-term vocational or like barrier reduction, something like that, you could go in and look at all the people that have it started. You can enter the end date, the weekly hours, and save. And so there are some services that you can just, if they don't require all the other extra information, like a post assessment or something like that, you could update a group of people at the same time using this tool. But I think the most, for this particular program, one of the things I see about this particular report is that if you have, for example, bridge training and you have 21 people and you know that, all these people up here started today, you could just easily open this up into a new tab and update that service. So you don't have to go into each of these individuals separately. You can just click on this link to their bridge training service and then update the information there. So you see it opened up that service. So that's kind of a shortcut. Let's see, close out some of these. The next report is the demographic report. And we have the different programs have slightly different requirements, but all these demographic reports, the the column that has the demographics is all the same, and but each of the maybe some of the filters are different depending if you're Climate Works, Navigator, Returning Residents. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Workforce Hub demographic report because again, I'm logged in as a Workforce Hub person. I'm going to um, just say all time, and I'm going to just start with the first one, which is enrollment. And you can see for this, the number of individuals who have applied, the number of people who are enrolled, the totals. You can see it has it broken down by race. So each of these numbers are links to customers, so you can select those and see who's in that listing. Same thing with gender. We have age ranges, veteran status, and then the area. Are they in EJC 3 only, R3 only, in both, or in neither? And then, you can see they have enrollment, training, job placement, quality. So these are just different, these are the areas that will change from program to program. But this overall first column, this demographic column, will stay the same across these reports. So across the demographic reports, the demographics are all the same, but some of the drop downs are different. The next area that we have is the narrative report. And so you're going to select your area, you can search, or you can add a report. I'm just going to pick one that's already in here, hit view. And so whenever you start this out, you'll select the calendar year, the quarter, and the month, and then each of these sections. So the sections are the same, each, all the time. And then as you add in, for each quarter, as you add in April's information, then, it will look like, there'll be a text box and you enter it. So when you come back and enter May's information, you'll enter it into a text box. Whenever you come in to enter June, you'll see that there's a text box here, but I can see what was written for April and May for each of these sections. So you're entering it for each month, but it puts it together, it combines it all for each quarter. So you can easily see the activities for each quarter. So this takes us into the success stories. So you'll be able to see there's the success story app. And let's see, this is in production. This I'm not logged into production, but let me go ahead. I don't want to actually show real participant data. So let me just show you another area. Go back to the reports. And the success story admin will take you to this page, and you can log in and submit a success story on behalf of, a customer success story, employer success story. If you have community success stories, you can enter those in. And what they will do is once you enter that information, it'll be submitted, it'll be reviewed and approved. And then once it is reviewed and approved, it'll be available in the success story tools within Illinois WorkNet. So, so it's nice to be able to share your customer successes. Close out all this stuff. I have lots of tabs open. Let's see, and that takes us to the end of this particular area for the reports. The next one that we have is the plan versus actual. On this, if you select this tab, yeah, let's see. I went ahead and ran this. it takes a little while to run it just because it pulls information from so many different places. Um, but this is the plan versus actual, and we're going to be updating the prompts for the filters because it's not 100% clear that, if I'm logged in as the workforce partner, that really I just need to select that I'm looking at it for workforce hubs. Um, if you're a navigator, you select the navigator. If you're Workforce Hub, ClimateWorks, any of those other programs, you select your location here. And what this does, what it'll say is that I need the plan versus actual report for Workforce Hub versus I need the plan versus actual report for a navigator because they have different requirements for those different programs. So we will be updating this filter selection so that it is more clear with how to use this page. But if you're a, CEJA, Workforce Hub, return resident, go ahead and select just your name down here, organization. And then you can do the all time frame. You can also select, um, you know, custom start and end dates and that sort of thing. As you go down this list, you'll see the planned number that's coming from your work plan. And then the actual number is what is coming from the data that is in the system for your organization. So we have the outreach and events. So you can see the listing here, show outreach event types. If I clicked on this link, same thing with partners. You can see the partner types. You have your applicants, participants, um, bridge training completers. Now, this is specifically for the workforce hubs. So some of these line items will be different depending on, if you're a navigator, ClimateWorks, return residents, CEJA. But just in general, you'll have each of these items that are listed on that Excel monthly report. Those were this report was based on that initial Excel file. And so for this example, we have the bridge training completers, and each of these links can show you data that's associated with each of these training programs. So if it's with the bridge, you can see the people, the different certifications that were earned as part of this, the data that was entered related to this particular service. And then you can see the listing, the counts, and if you select them, then it will give you the listing of participants that earned that credential. And then the same thing, the next one is really shows the different cohorts, and you can, same deal. So that's the basic process for each of these. You can see the credentials and the cohorts. Then you can come down here and you'll see some of the demographic information. Again, this will differ by program, but this information comes from the applications of those individuals for that particular program. The transition outcomes. This data comes from the transition outcomes. And each of these, they have a link here. You can see if it's related to employment, you'll see the listing of employers and who's with who. And you can click on those links to find those individuals. Some of these, we start out with including the words, unavailable. That just means that this information, isn't collected in the system, but it was on the monthly report. Again, the RAP placements, that's the registered apprenticeship placement. So you can see those listing there. And then the training comes from the other training. That's the advanced training. You can see the listing of those programs and provider names there. And then this one is, again, like specific to the workforce hubs. But so those are the plan versus actual reports. And then the last thing that I wanted to show you, as far as reports are concerned, is back on this customer list. So you can select, if you have multiple programs that you're associated with, or if you want to, filter it down by a certain status, you can do that. If you have a listing from the plan versus actual, you want to see the 4 people that were listed, you can see those here. And so whatever you have the information filtered to on this page, when you hit the export button, that's what's going to be part of this report. So if you have 500 people, it'll include 500 people. If you have 4 people, it'll include 4 people. When I select export, I can select any or all of these data points to be included in that export. There are the WorkNet ID, name, and username are always included in this report, but I'll go ahead and select all these and hit export. It will download into an Excel file. And then you can filter the data in any way, whatever you need it to use it for. One of the things that I'm just going to briefly go over each of these, or maybe not all of them, but just cover these just in general. So the program name, of course, is Workforce Hub or Climate Works or so forth. The grantees that's associated, it would be like the Workforce Hub, Climate Works, returning residents, and so forth. Navigator would be if there's a navigator associated with that individual. If they're active, inactive, the different customer statuses along the way. Their contact information, inquiry pre-screening. This information is coming from the pre-screening. So the EJC R3. So maybe this might be helpful for you whenever you're reaching out to individuals, you know, um, based on, but they don't have they haven't completed an application. So you can have their contact information and everything to follow up with them. The application information comes from the application. Some of the areas that are of particular interest for a lot of us that use this export are the pre-screening date, application date, enrollment date, completion date, and exit date, because then you can easily filter the list to people that have ever applied, that were ever enrolled, who completed. So those are some pretty useful columns right there. You can have, more information. This all comes from their application. The next area down, the bridge cohort. The bridge is service is a service, of course. And then, so it's going to look to see if they have a bridge cohort, if they have a bridge service, and then the status of it. And if they have completed it, it will include the completion date. Same thing here, job specific cohort, what's the name of it? And then they're different job specific services, the name, status, completion date, same with apprenticeship. We have those different credentials in there that are the hard-coded credentials. A flag for if they have other credentials. And then all these down here, this next whole section down here, those are all from the transition outcome sections. And then you can see like the latest case note. So whenever you look at this, This is everything. If you see something that they has not on file, it means we don't have data in the system for that particular piece. And you'll notice that these are, um, inquiries or do not contacts up here. Once they start getting the online worknet accounts and the different statuses, you'll see, more of these areas in these columns are filled out. All right. So that's the overview of the full export. Um, so can you import via Excel? Good question. There is one area that you can import, but it's with the minimal data, and that's for your inquiries. So to do this, you go to Upload Customers, and then you can, browse to your file. The file includes, open it up. Um, First name, last name, phone, email, street, contact information, zip code, and then date of birth. And you can upload those files into the system, and then they will put them into the system as an inquiry, like this
Hi,
person.
Natasha.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we can only upload for like their profile. We can't upload like if we put the pre-screening questions or like the needs assessment in Excel and had them answer. Is there a way to upload all of that via Excel? I'm just thinking like not just the inquiry, I'm thinking the like all the questions, if that makes sense.
Yeah. At this time, we don't have an import for like the service needs assessment
Okay.
or those types of things in the
Okay.
pre-screening. Hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions really? Because I did go over those kind of quickly, but are there any other questions about reports? I don't know if looks like I know we had Michelle and I believe Larry. Um, do you have anything like you would like to add or any questions that have come up that you need to cover from?
No, I
I
didn't
don't
have
have
anything, Natasha.
Sorry, we were talking the same phone. I don't either.
Okay.
But if you have any questions, I think I have one grantee on here. Any questions, you can always bring it up on our weekly check-ins.
All right. Well, that's what I was planning to cover for part B. Um, Again, if you have any additional questions that I can answer at this time, then feel free to ask them. Otherwise, uh, we'll give you back some time to your day.
I have a question.
Sure.
The video reporting system, that one is not been published yet, right? What is the
But
status of that?
yep, we will be rolling that out. Um,
Okay.
yeah, it's in the system. We just need to, I believe the plan was to go through all the orientation and then roll it out to the grantees.
Okay. Is it going to be similar to this what we're seeing here? Is it going to be
It's
different, or is there
Nope,
going to be?
it's the same thing.
Okay.
And we probably need to get that scheduled, Natasha. Maybe we need to talk about
Hmm.
that.
Yep, it's the exact same thing. Like I said, across the different programs, um, there's just like maybe a few different questions or, data points that are required, that it pulls in the data, but pretty much everything else is the same thing across programs. I tend to use the workforce hubs just because it has more data in it for my for my test customers, but again, it's the same. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Give you one more
Thank
chance
you.
for last minute questions.